These are my bikes.
Bike Hub, and I'm also an advocate with Bike Brampton, and I'm so happy to see you all here today. Give me another ding! Alright, so today we are going to be going to Prabmeet Sarkaria's office, and on the way there we're going to be taking Main Street, or here, Ontario.
No!
There will be bike lanes for part of it, but we are going to be taking a lead for other part because Main Street gets to be a big road. But on our way there, I want to make sure everyone knows the rules of the road because we are going to be following them today. We do this?
Yes.
Alright, we do this? Right. Stop.
Yeah.
And if there's an emergency vehicle, what do? We
Pull over.
pull over, we get out of the way. Alright, when there's a red light, we stop. When there's a stop sign, we stop as a group. For the most part, if someone's already started to pull, the person at the front, which will be me, I will stop, and once I proceed, we'll all proceed as a group. We're a big enough group today. I think we can take up one of the lanes when we're not riding on a bike lane. But I'm so happy to see you all today. The goal is to go. We're going to have a few speeches in front of Prabmeet Sarkaria's office, where we're going to tell him that this is not a law for the future. This is something that we need to have for the rest of our lives. We want to be healthy. We don't want cars to dominate the roads. And yeah, we're gonna have a few speakers there, but that's pretty much it. We're gonna be placing the ghost bike after. And that's it. So thank you guys all for coming out, and I think we're about ready to leave.
Do we have Brampton cyclists amongst us or joining us?
Brampton cyclists?
Yeah.
I mean, raise your hand!
Yay!
Raise your hand if you're a Brampton cyclist!
Raise your hand if you're a Toronto cyclist. All right, nice. That's awesome.
Sonia! We don't need to lock our bikes out.
Good, it's cold today. Are you? No, I wasn't with the bikes. I was actually just close by and I saw you guys. So I was wondering, like, I want to talk to you guys. You know, get your opinion. You guys are a little more.
I think it's targeting Toronto, but it's because all of them.
Give a big round of applause. Thank you, thank you. And before we get our speakers, we have a few of them here today. Thanks for coming out. Again, my name's Sonia Set, and while I've been a volunteer with Bike Brampton since 2021. While I've been a volunteer with Bike Brampton since 2021, I've also been a lifelong advocate for safe and sustainable transportation. I'm born and raised in Brampton, Ontario, and I've been a commuter cyclist for as long as I've had places to go. Let me tell you, cycling has always been more about getting from A to B. It's about community, it's about freedom, it's about moving on streets where every single person can feel safe.
Right.
But today we're here in front of the Honorable Prabmeet Sarkaria's office because those values have been attacked.
Yes.
Sarkaria! Jay!
You're so honorable.
Very dishonorable.
Sarkaria, as Transport Minister, proposed legislation that the Ford government recently passed, requiring provincial approval for bike lanes and even removing existing bike lanes. They're telling us that bike lanes are the problem in cities already choked with traffic caused by decades of car-first planning.
Right.
Friends, that's not just wrong, it's dangerous.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And do you know what we say that? Safe streets?
Save lives!
Safe streets isn't about traffic, it's about people. Fewer bike lanes means more injuries, more fatalities, and fewer options for everyone. Protected bike lanes don't just keep cyclists safe. They make safe streets safer for pedestrians, drivers, and kids walking to school. They allow EMS vehicles to zip through congestion by taking bike lanes and responding more quickly to calls. In fact, even the government's own data shows that bike lanes improve safety and reduce congestion.
Yay!
So why are they doing this? To distract us, instead of addressing the real issues: healthcare, climate change, affordable housing, and significantly delayed transportation projects. They want us to fight over bike lanes. But we see that, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Because bike lanes
Save lives!
And let's not forget who we're really fighting for. These bike lanes are for our communities like Brampton, like Toronto, like all of the small towns in Ontario. Parents pulling their kids in trailers, the seniors who use bikes to stay active, and the students going to school just trying to get an education. We're here to protect their rights to safe streets. So what can we do? We vote?
We vote.
We organize?
We organize.
We let our leaders know that this is not acceptable.
This is not acceptable.
The current government passed this law, but it's on us to vote. And it's because the MPP behind us that we're here today, because this law should have never come to pass. The Ford government wants to call an election, and we're going to answer. Let's send a message. The fight isn't over, and we're not backing down.
Nope.
Safe streets?
Safe.
We're going to have our next speaker right here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Sonia.
Allison Stewart. She is the Director for Advocacy and Public Policies with Cycle Toronto, and is also the Bike Mayor of Toronto.
Hello, Brampton! So I'm just going to do a brief introduction like Sonia. I grew up in Guelph, not too far from here. I took the GO bus here because there is no GO train service from Guelph on the weekends. Same for Kitchener. When I, out of school on minimum wage, I commuted to Toronto on the Greyhound bus. Things haven't gotten much better. But anyway, just on the positive note, we're here. We're going to keep demonstrating until we get the province to do sound policies that improve our streets for all. If Switzerland 5 years ago, they were well on their way to becoming as car-centric as we are, but since they now have the best public transit system among others in the world, and that can be us. Yes. So Cycle Toronto, as many of you know, we launched a court challenge against Bill 212. We have a court date, mark your calendars, for April 16th. And before that, we also launched an injunction because with the launch of the election, we're concerned because the government said that they wouldn't start removing their targeted bike lanes until March 20th. But with the election now on its way and our court dates not until April 16th, we anticipate getting our hearing on March 11th. So we have a lot of demonstrations to do. Until then, we have a lot of work to make sure that we elect a more progressive government, and what would be amazing is a minority government. So, thank you, Brampton.
We'll be there with you. Brampton will be here.
Thank you, Allison, and thank you everyone for coming. It is incredibly wonderful to see how many people care about the issue of road safety. My name is Jessica Speaker. A lot of you know my story. I was almost killed in 2015 riding my bike to work on a dangerous street. I was T-boned by a reckless SUV driver who broke my spine and blew up my life and the future that I was building. And I still suffer from that every day and think about it every day. But what happened to me is not even that bad compared to what has happened to other members of our group. People whose family members were killed just for walking across the street, killed while riding their bike. The pain and the devastation that is unleashed in the aftermath of road violence is almost impossible to put into words how much it hurts and how devastating it is. And in light of that, it is impossible to understand how a Minister of Transportation is actively working to make our streets more dangerous, which is inevitably simply going to get more people killed. It includes every type of road user, not just people on bikes, people in cars and pedestrians. This politician is unworthy of elected office. If you want to kill Ontarians, you should not be electable. And that is exactly what he's trying to do, and that's why we're at his office. So let's tell him. Prabmeet Sarkaria. Boo! Shame on you! The devastation you're trying to unleash it's impossible to understand why you would pursue this agenda, except for cheap political points. But people's lives matter more than politics.
They do.
They have to back off of this bill. They just cannot proceed. We will not let them. And that's why we're here. Thank you everyone for coming.
All right, I'd like to announce our next speaker. Zach, would you like to say a few words? Zach, you had something to say for the collective?
No, it's Rob, by the way.
Oh, Rob, I'm so sorry. Rob. All right, you want to come up here, Rob? I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Sonia. So I'm Robert Sarkowski. I'm with a group called the Toronto Community Bikeways Coalition. So our group started about 5 years ago, aiming to hold City Council accountable to their road safety and climate goals, amplify community voices, provide policy solutions, and host fun events like the Cycle Good Cheer Rides. So one initiative our group, along with other advocates across the province, have launched recently is called Common Ground Ontario. And the aim of this initiative is to organize the communities to vote Ford out of office. So, if you want to sign up to volunteer for our efforts, you could go to our website, commongroundon.blogspot.com.
We'll put the list up on Bike Brampton website. So
Yes.
Thank you, David. And we're also working with other like-minded groups like Not One Seat, Cooperate for Canada, and Ontario Forward that are also trying to tell people which candidates they should support instead. So I'll close it off by saying, if you want to get rid of Doug Ford, one, let's donate the $200 pre-election bribe the Ford government gave us to support the candidates that can defeat him. Let's volunteer for the candidates that can best defeat the MPPs. And finally, let's tell our friends and family across Ontario so they can do their part to get rid of Ford as well. Thank you.
Hear, hear. Thank you for that excellent speech, and sorry about or getting your name wrong. And I think we have one more word here from David at Bike Brampton. And then after that, we're going to lock up our ghost bike over yonder. All right, here's David. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, thanks everybody for coming out. We really I enjoyed the ride. How about you guys? Yeah. So I got involved in riding a bicycle for a number of different reasons, most of which you already know. Health, cost, the environment, community.
Hold it closer to your mouth.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me?
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Health, the environment, cost, and community, right? Those are the four main reasons why people get involved in cycling. And I just wanted to mention that I belong to a number of different environmental groups that are focused on climate change, and obviously bikes are the biggest issue or the biggest reason how we can reduce our carbon emissions from transportation. And for those of you that don't know, transportation is the second contributor to carbon emissions behind buildings. And in Brampton, it actually represents close to 60% of the total carbon emissions. The interesting thing is that the vast majority of trips that are taken by all these cars that are out here are 5 kilometers or less. So about 45% of all of the trips in Peel region are 5 kilometers or less, which is about a 15-minute bike ride. So if we could get a large portion of those off the streets and onto bicycles, we could do a lot to address climate change. So what I wanted to mention was that the Ontario Climate Emergency Coalition, OCEC, is organizing a seminar to try and attract people that are not environmentalists, are not cyclists, are not necessarily focused on some of the things that we are passionate about. And the way that they're going to do that is run a seminar that links a lot of the things that we're concerned about, like food security, like housing, like affordable transportation, to the issues of climate and reducing carbon emissions. And so if you go on to bikebrampton.ca, onto the events page, we have a place where you can register for that seminar, and as more information gets published. So join Rob's group and start to organize around those vulnerable ridings where we can get MPPs that are more progressively minded, and come out to this, or encourage as many people as possible to come out to this webinar so that we can get our message to a larger audience, because that's what we need. There's an awful lot of people that don't understand the benefits of bike lanes and why the bike lanes need to be there. Oh, okay, sorry. I assumed everybody could hear me anyway. So thanks again for coming out.
Yeah.
Great turnout, and we'll see you on the roads soon.
Thank you, David, and thank you for all of our speakers today. I think everyone's feeling a little bit cold, so unless someone else has something to say, I think it's time to place our ghost bike. All right, so we are going to find a telephone pole over yonder, and away she goes. That's it. All right, thank you everyone, and let's go.
Put it right in front of him.
Yeah, so where are we putting your...
Thank you for coming out and documenting.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you for helping me with this. I appreciate it.
Let's make it a lot tighter.
Is this the first?
Ghost bike?
Yeah. I say.